This motion takes steps towards creating a process independent of the Sheriff's Department for complaints involving sheriff personnel in schools that contract for law enforcement services. It does not in any way reduce or eliminate services. Each school district will make its own decision about whether to contract for Sheriff's Department services. This motion also instructs the Probation Oversight Commission to work with school districts and the Sheriff's Department to augment, not duplicate or replace, existing complaint processes. Lastly, while the Probation Oversight Commission can refer complaints, they will not be authorized to conduct investigations or discipline Sheriff's Department personnel. So, getting to the purpose of the motion. Our youth don't get to choose their county supervisor, but they will live with the long-term consequence of our decisions. And when it comes to their education and safety, our decisions can make all the difference. Every young person has a right to a quality education that provides an opportunity to build a life of dignity and purpose and to become a contributing member of our county. Reliance on punitive practices, however, can deprive a young person of this right and the life-changing benefit it affords. Providing a safe and supportive learning environment is so critical for fulfilling the mission of our public education system. It's important to protect our youth from the harms of the school to prison and school to deportation pipeline. An Office of Inspector General analysis found that Black and Hispanic students had disproportionately higher contact with school resource deputies, including through arrest and citation. I was particularly disturbed to read that the school resource deputies had contact with children as young as 5 to 7 years of age. A report by the Human Relations Commission helps illustrate why some students feel unsafe about making a complaint. Most students reported feeling intimidated and targeted for being themselves or for their appearance. Students commonly reported that school resource deputies antagonized them to get a reaction and cause problems to escalate. Those were quotes from the report. These responses underscore the need for a process that is safe, responsive, and independent of the department that complaints are made against. I think it's very important that this process be administered by an oversight body that has deep expertise in youth development and youth justice. And given their specialization in this area, as well as its community-facing, person-centered orientation, the Probation Oversight Commission is best suited to refer these complaints to. A complaint process by itself is not nearly enough to ensure accountability and the protection of students. The Office of Inspector General and the Sheriff Civilian Oversight Commission have recommended several revisions to the contracts for school law enforcement services. Clearly defining a limited role and responsibilities for school resource deputies will be critical, especially when it comes to their involvement in disciplinary matters. An independent complaint process can help hold the county and school districts accountable to the new agreements. In addition, services provided by the Department of Youth Development, Office of Violence Prevention, and other departments can help ensure that our youth are appropriately served. And so I'd like to thank our oversight bodies and the Human Relations Commission for doing the hard work of engaging stakeholders, especially our students in this conversation. Thanks to their outreach to over 1,100 public comments about school resource deputies were submitted to the Sheriff Civilian Oversight Commission just this past summer alone. And we took the public's input seriously and used it to inform this motion. Stronger accountability of school law enforcement services is important for protecting our youth from harm and ensuring that our schools are safe and supportive environments for learning. An independent, confidential, and responsive complaint process is critical for a functioning system of oversight for school law enforcement services. And I'd like to thank Supervisor Solis for joining me as co-author on the motion. Thank you, Madam Chair.